All right, we started with multiplying fractions by whole numbers. Then we went on to multiplying fractions. Now we're getting real crazy. We're doing multiplying mixed numbers by pretty much anything. Okay, so let's take 3 multiplied by 2.5, which really reads 3 sets of 2.5. So you've seen me, I've drawn out 3 sets of 2.5, but modeling becomes inefficient. There is 3 sets of 2.5, but we want to save the trees, save the forest, and not have to take 9 pages to do our homework. At this point in your mathematical career, we really need to know how to do the standard algorithm. So we're going to skip modeling. So what do we do? We got 3 multiplied by 2.5, just like we had before, but the 2.5 is kind of weird. We know what 3 times 2 is. We know what 3 times 1/2 would be. We could try splitting it up, I guess, but there's an easier way. 2.5 is weird. 5/2, the improper fraction, not so weird. So let's take 3, let's multiply it by 5/2. 5/2 is the same value as 2.5. It's just in a different form. We've talked about that before. We can handle a fraction by a whole number. 3/1 multiplied by 5/2. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, equals 15/2. It's an improper fraction. Let's simplify that bad boy to 7 1/2. So, what we're saying is, when you're multiplying mixed numbers, change them to improper fractions. 6 multiplied by 4 1/5. That's the same thing as saying 6 is multiplied by 21/5. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. All right? On a little bit of a side note, 6 times 4 is 24, so as an estimate, we should be looking for an answer that is somewhere around 24. 6 times 5 would be 30. If we end up with anything greater than 30, we know we did something wrong, because our number still, even though it's a mixed number, is less than 5. All right, so 6 times 21/5 is 126. 6 times 21 is 126 fifths. 126 divided by 5, there's 25 whole sets of 5 in 126 with 1/5 left over. So let's go to even different numbers. Let's go mixed number by mixed number. That's 3 times 2/3 times 4 3/4. Did I just say 3 times 2/3 times 4 3/4? I meant 3 2/3 multiplied by 4 3/4. Well, when we take 3 2/3 and we multiply by 4 3/4, we end up with 11/3 multiplied by 17/4. 11 times 17 is 187. 3 times 4 is 12. We have an improper fraction of 187 multiplied by 12. OMG. At this point, kids, I don't expect you to divide 187 by 12 every single night, every single problem, long division style. Get your calculator out for this. You're not focusing on the dividing aspect at this point. You're focusing on, can I multiply 3 2/3 by 4 3/4? It is acceptable to use a calculator at this point to multiply these two numbers and then divide these two numbers. But if you did do it long division, you end up with 15 remainder 7. Okay, so 15 is our whole number, 7/12 is our fraction. Of course, 7/12 doesn't simplify, so it is in simplest form. Oh, I just lost it. What I'd like you to try tonight, go ahead and give 6 1/2 multiplied by 2 by 1/3 a shot. Try 3 times 6 1/3. Try 7 1/2 multiplied by 5 4/5. Like I said, you got a calculator function either on your netbook, on your phone, on your iPod, or your other touchscreen device. Go ahead and use your calculator for the multiplying and dividing only. If you try to shortcut it and add in the fractions, if your calculator will let you do that, you're cheating yourself of going through the process. I still want to see all your work. But like I said, feel free to use the calculator for the multiplication and the division. See you tomorrow in class.